welcome to your homeschool. This is your next session of your mathematics. So in this session, we are going to deal about the basic concepts of geometry. What is geometry, children? Geometry is derived from two Greek words, that is geo and metron. What is geo? Geo means earth, metron means measure or measurement. Combinedly, geometry is called as the measurement of earth. Where do we apply this geometry? In the word itself, we got measurement of earth. Geometry is important from thousands of years ago onwards. This practical application of geometry we are using. Some of the applications, where do we use this geometry? This geometry is used to find the areas or the areas of lands. It might be application of architecture, navigation purpose, and also it is applicable in astronomy. Before starting our geometry, some of the basic key concepts we are going to learn. What are those concepts here, children? By the way, what is a geometry? Geometry is one of the branch of mathematics. So we have seen till now algebra, arithmetic, geometry. Geometry is also one of the important branch of mathematics. So we start our concepts with a point. So can you see here, children, point? What is this? This is a point. So we used to hear a word. What is that? Mark a point on a line, or mark a position in your graph. Okay, or mark a point in your map. Show your state or anything with a point you mark there and show. Right? So what is this point? It is a fine dot. Point is what? It is represented by a fine dot. Why do we use point? Point is just to show the position. Whereas point has no dimension, no length, no breadth, no width, and it doesn't have any weight or anything. So point is simply, it is used to show a position. Next, we are going to deal with a line. What is a line, children? A line, see here, you can see the endpoints with two arrow marks. What does this indicate? The line extends indefinitely. Line is extending indefinitely, either this side or this side. Okay, two ways it extends indefinitely and there is no end. So whereas it has no dimension, it has one dimension. What is that here, children? Length. What is a line? Line is a length, or it is a breadthless line also, we can say this. Okay, line is having only one dimension and line never stops. Right? How do we represent the line? With the two letters. Let me take here A, B. Arrowheads like this, you represent a line. AB. AB is a never ending line. It is extending indefinitely. So, if I mark a point here, how many points you can mark on this line? There are many points you can mark on a line. What are these points called as? Collinear points. What are these points, children, here? Collinear points. Why they are collinear? Why they are collinear? All the points lie on a same line. So those type of points are called as the collinear points. C, D, E, F, G. These are all the points which are marked on a same line. Those all the points are collinear. What is a ray? So look here. One point having an end means a line arises from one end point and it never ends. This arrow indicates it extends indefinitely. Okay, and there is no end for this line. Whereas one side is having an end point and another side it does not have any end point. So this is called as a ray. Okay, what is this, children? A ray is a line which arises from one end point. It has no direction. So any direction it can go. So this arrow indicates there is no end for this side, where this side having an end point. Suppose if I say AB, how do you represent this ray, children? AB and one side arrow you have to show. Okay, how do you show a ray? AB is a ray, right? So let's see the line segment. What is a line segment here? Where it is having two endpoints. See here, there is an endpoint here A and there is another endpoint B. How do you write this, children? AB. Okay, how do you represent your line segment? AB is a line segment. Line segment is also one dimensional, having only length. Okay, so next coming to your angle. What is your angle here, children? Angle is nothing but it starts from one end point. Okay, there are two rays arising from same end point. This point we call it as a vertex. So two rays are arise from same end point, and here there is no ending and here also there is no end. It extends indefinitely. So these two rays make an angle here. What is this? Angle. So we have showed with an arrow mark here. This angle is nothing but it is the size of the angle. How it is measured? The angles are measured in degrees. It is represented by this. Okay. So now A, how do you call this one? BC. Suppose let me take here. Angle is represented like this. Angle BAC. So there are many type of angles regarding with the measure. Okay, so all the types of angles we are going to learn, right? What are the angles and all? Next part we are going to see now. Just what is an angle? Same point, two rays arising from a same point or from the same vertex. Okay, then creates a measure of angle. So now let's see the plane. It can extend indefinitely. This plane, can you see the plane? I can extend this line more and I can extend this line, means the plane can extend endlessly. Okay, where it does not have any thickness. What does it have? It have only length and breadth. Plane is a two-dimensional figure. So once again, point has no dimension, that is 0 dimension, and a line has 1 dimension, and whereas a plane has two-dimensional figure. So plane, it can extend indefinitely. So this edges, these lines we call it as a edges. This plane have 4 edges and 4 vertices, you can call this, right? So this is called as the surface. Okay, what is this here, children? This is a surface. That surface we call it as a area. Right? This is a plane figure having 2 dimensions, and whereas this plane can extend indefinitely. 3-dimensional figure, it is a solid, it has size, shape, so length, breadth, height, weight, everything will be there. So let's see the 3-dimensional figure. Look here. So easy to draw here, children, like this 2 boxes to draw. And you can join this. You got the 3-dimensional figure. So look here. This is length, this is breadth, and this is height. We have here 3 dimensions. So this solid is a 3-dimensional figure, and this can move from one place to another. 3-dimensional figure. Point is nothing. It is used to mark a position. Line is a 1 dimension. And plane is a 2 dimension. Solid shapes, this is a 3-dimensional figure. Children, did you follow what is the dimension? Length and breadth, length, breadth, height. Now I just want to show you all these concepts with an example here. See the point. Point, I cannot show you any example. Okay, it is just to mark a point. It is a fine dot, right? It is used to show the position. Whereas a line is a one dimension, right? It is having only length, right? So now coming to your plane, you can extend indefinitely as said. So this surface is enclosed with the boundaries. That boundaries are always lines or edges, we said. So you can see a plain paper here. Can you see, children? This is an example for your plane. So plane having length and breadth, right? So look here, only this is a plane surface. It is enclosed with the lines, or it is called as the edges. So it is a two-dimensional plane. So now you can see here, children, this is a Rubik's cube. So what is this cube here? It is a three-dimensional. This is an example for three-dimensional. So how can you say here? Length, breadth and height. Length, breadth and height. It is a three-dimensional figure. Part of a plane. In this cube, I'll say, look here, only this, right? This, what you can see here, you can see only a square. So this is part of a plane. Only this surface. If I talk about only this surface, it is a plane. But total cube, if I talk, it is a solid. Okay. So how many plane figures are enclosed for this cube, children? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 6 planes are enclosed by this solid. Now we are going to see what is Euclid's geometry. Have you heard of Euclid's children here? Euclid is well known as father of geometry. Who is he? Around 325 BC, Euclid is a teacher of mathematics at Alexandria in Egypt. He has collected all the known work and arranged it in his famous treatise called Elements. He divided the elements into 13 chapters, each called as a book. Each of this book influences the whole world's understanding of geometry. Euclid listed 23 definitions in his book 1 of Elements. Few of Euclid's definitions are also known as axioms. So some of the definitions of Euclid we are going to see here. First one, a point is that which has no part. What is a point, children? Point is used to represent the position. Where it has no length, no breadth, no width, this all won't be there. So there is no dimension. Point, it is represented by a fine dot, right? So what he is saying here, it has no part. So it is just a point. Where this point, how do you label here? With the capital letters A, B, C or any letter you can use. So see the second one. A line is breadthless length. Suppose if you see a line, look here children, it is only a length. There is no breadth here. So he is saying that the line is a breadthless length. Third one, the ends of a line are points. So where will these lines end? Somewhere the ends of a line are points. The ends of a line are points. Fourth one, a straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. A straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. So there are many points which can lie on a straight line. Those points are also known as, we have seen the definition, what is that? Collinear points. So let's see next. A surface is that which has length and breadth only. A surface which has length and breadth only. It is a plane or a surface which has only, it is a two-dimensional figure. It will be having only length and breadth. So next one, the edges of a surface are lines. So this is a plane surface, right? So what are the edges of this? These are lines. See here, how many edges this surface will have? 4 are there. So here these 4 are lines. So whereas it is a two-dimensional figure, length and breadth will be there. So the edges of a surface of a plane surface are all lines. Next one, a plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. So here look here children, if a plane surface, a straight lines lie on itself. Okay, on a plane surface, lines are lying on itself. So once again, let's see all these points here. A point is that which has no part. Okay, whereas a line having many parts. Do you know that? Suppose if you break a line into pieces, there are many parts. But whereas a point, we cannot do it any part. So what we can say, point is that which has no part. A line is breadthless length. The ends of a line are points. Ends of a line are points. So where does it end, children? It might be any line segment. If a line is ended with a point, we call that as a line segment. So a straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. A surface is that which has length and breadth only. It is a two-dimensional, it is a one-dimensional, it is no dimension. So here the edges of a surface are lines. A plane surface is a surface which lie evenly with the straight lines on itself. And finally what we are saying that there are 3 undefined terms. Those are point, line and plane. Axioms and postulates. These are the assumptions which have made. Without any proof, we are going to accept this. Okay, these are all called as a universal truths. What are those, children? Axioms and postulates. So, these axioms, where are these applicable? Axioms are applicable in all parts of mathematics, whereas postulates are concerned with only geometry. These postulates can be applicable in geometry itself. So, what are these, children? These are the universal truths which are accepted without any proof. So, let's start our Euclid's axioms. There are 7 axioms we are going to discuss here. What's your axiom number 1? Things which are equal to the same things. Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. What do you mean by this, children? So look here. Let me take here A is equal to B. Okay. And also I will write A is equal to C. Observe here, what is the statement? Things which are equal to the same thing. Things which are equal to the same thing. See, B equal to A and I am saying C is also equal to A. Things which are equal to the same thing are equal. Then which are equal, children? So these two are equal. So directly I will say B equal to C. This is your first axiom. This can be applied in your mathematics without any proof. The second one, if equals are added to equals. What is this? If equals are added to equals. Okay, I have taken 2 equal numbers. So any other number you are going to add on both sides. Let us take here 2, children. So if equals are added to equals, look here carefully. If equals are added to equals, the wholes means combine this, add what you are going to get? 5. The wholes are equal. Observe here, children. If equals are added to equals, then the wholes are equal. See the third axiom. If equals are subtracted. So now what you are going to do? Same third axiom here. 3 minus 2 equal to 3 minus 2. So look here. If equals are subtracted from equals. If equals are subtracted from equals, the remainder what you are going to get is also equal. So once again look here carefully. If equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are also equal. Coming to your fourth axiom, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. So same one, if it is coincided, then what we say, these two are equal. Things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. If they are coinciding equally, then these two are equal to one another. So see the next one, fifth one, the whole is greater than the part. So look here children, let us imagine this is a whole, right? If I break this, so which is greater? Whole is always greater than the part. So now suppose if you take a line here, okay, A, B. So I am going to make a part here. This is A, this is B, and I have done here C. So I will say here AC is a part and CB is also a part. AB is a whole, right? AB is always greater than, either it may be AC or it might be CB. Whole is greater than part. Coming to your sixth axiom, things which are double of the same things are equal to one another. Suppose if I take x is equal to 2a, things which are equal to the double of the same thing. So what I can say, according to the axiom number 1, these two are equal. Things which are equal to one another are equal to one another. Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. That means x is equal to y. So see the last one, things which are halves of the same things. So same type of example, let's take x is equal to half of a, okay, and y is equal to half of a. So things which are half of the same thing, things which are half of the same thing are equal to one another. Again these two are equal by axiom number 1. I can say x is equal to y. Okay, once again I repeat all the 6 axioms. Listen here carefully. Axiom number 1. What is axiom number 1 here? Things which are equal to the same things are equal to one another. We have seen with an example, A equal to B equal to C. A is common, so you can equate B equal to C. Then coming to your second, if equals are added to equals, then the wholes are equal. If equals are added to equal, wholes are equal. Then the third axiom, if equals are subtracted from the equals, then the remainders are equal. Next one, things which coincide with one another are equal to, which coincide with one another are equal to one another. So next one, the whole is greater than the part. And the sixth one, things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. Then things which are half of the same things are equal to one another. Let's postulate children, what I have said for you. Axioms can be applicable in any part of your mathematics, whereas postulates can be applicable only in geometry. So look here, first postulates. A straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. So look here, suppose there is a point and there is a point. Okay, so a line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. See here children, from this point to this point, we have joined a line segment it is, right? So, how many lines can you draw from a point children? On a point, how many lines you can draw means, you can draw infinitely many lines from the point, right? So, now what did they say? A line can be drawn from one point to any other point. So, see the next one. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely. So what is your second one children? This is a terminated line, right? So a terminated line produced indefinitely. A, B is a terminated line with two endpoints. So B can be extended indefinitely, and whereas A can be extended indefinitely. That is your second postulate. See the third postulate. A circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. See a 3 centimeters if you draw, we call it as a circle. 4 centimeters if you draw a circle, that is also a circle. So what is your statement here? A circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. So look here, suppose center 2 centimeters, I'll draw a circle, and 4 centimeters, I'll draw another circle, or I may draw another circle, 2 centimeters, I'll draw a circle there. Dear children, a circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. We call that as a circle. So next, all right angles are equal to one another. How all right angles, how they can be equal? So look here. So let me take here one right angle and another right angle like this. So if you try to overlap, suppose this is ABC. This is MNP. So what happens here? ABC is a right angle, right? And if you mark again here MNP, if you overlap, what happens? It might be here and this right angle might be here. Both the right angles, if it is overlapped, what you can say? All the right angles are equal to one another. Why? The two lines are perpendicular to one another. So if you replace, you can see that all the right angles are equal to one another. So see the fifth one, which is very important. If a straight line falling on two straight lines, let me take here some two lines. A straight line falling on two lines makes the interior angles on the same side. Look here children, these are the interior angles of same side of it taken together less than two right angles. Less than two right angles. What do you mean by two right angles? Two right angles is nothing but 180 degrees. It is a straight angle, right? So what is this statement trying to say for us? Look here. If a line is falling on a two straight lines, the interior angles on the same side, either this side or this side, if it is taken together, they might be less than two right angles. Then the two straight lines, if produced indefinitely, look here, these are the lines, if they are produced indefinitely, okay, indefinitely meet on that side of which the sum of the angles is less than two right angles, where the interior angles, what we are talking on that side, if these lines are extended, so look here children, if these lines are extended, at some point they are going to meet. Then what do you say about these two lines? Are they parallel? No, they are not parallel. What they are trying to say, if a line is drawn on two lines, the interior angles of a same side, interior angles of a same side are less than two right angles. So let this angle be B, angle be C, A, B, C, D. Let's take E, F, anyway you can mark, no problem. So what you can say here? Angle ABC plus angle BCD is less than 180 degree is your statement. So if these lines are extended, they are going to meet. If they meet, then their sum of angles will be 180. If they won't meet, what happens? Then the lines will be parallel and their sum will be 180 degrees. Once again, last time I'm going to repeat all the postulates here. Listen carefully. What's your first postulate here? If a straight line may be drawn from any one point to another point. So a terminated line can be produced indefinitely. So third one, a circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. Fourth one, all right angles are equal to one another. Fifth one, if a line fallen on two lines, the interior angle sum is less than 180 degree. When those lines are extended, they are going to meet at one point. That side of a transversal interior angle sum will be less than 180 degrees. So children, try to understand your axioms and your postulates. All these are all universal truth. What we are saying them, these are all universal truths. Without any proof, we are going to accept these facts. Whereas actions can be applicable in any part of your mathematics and your postulates are applicable only in geometry. So with this, we are going to end our session, children. In our next session, we are going to continue our introduction to Euclid's geometry.